You hear time and time again that these soft skills, the creativity, the collaboration, the critical thinking, the flexibility, the resilience, these are things that you'd hear time and time again that businesses are looking for. And it's really interesting seeing how actually, if you work back about how so often the foundations for those skills are built in the earliest years of our lives.
Okay, y'all, did Catherine just checkmate Queen Camilla without even saying a word? Because the jewelry she stepped out in recently wasn't just about looking good. This was about sending a message straight from Princess Diana's legacy. See, the second Catherine became the Princess of Wales, she didn't just take on a new title, she basically stepped into a role once held by the most beloved royal in modern history. And along with that role came access to something seriously powerful, Diana's personal jewelry collection. Now, we're not just talking about fancy diamonds. These are emotional heirlooms, symbols of love, betrayal, heartbreak, and redemption. When Catherine wears them, especially in public and high-pressure royal settings, she's not just accessorizing, she's continuing a story. Let's be real, every single time she steps out in one of Diana's most iconic pieces, it makes headlines. And not just because it looks pretty, it reminds the world of Diana. And that matters, especially when Queen Camilla is still dealing with how the public views her place in that history. That's why this most recent look had royal watchers raising eyebrows. Catherine showed up not just dressed for the occasion, but literally wrapped in Diana's legacy, and people instantly caught the message.
Hello, how are you?
Well, thank you so much.
How are you getting on?
You okay?
I'm so smart.
He's very smart.
You're matching.
Yeah, exactly.
You put a lot of thought into that.
What have you been doing?
What have you been doing?
We went to the photograph auction.
And you sold, you were a bit of a beast at raffle ticket selling when we had the...
Now, if we're going to talk about royal power moves, we have to start with that ring. You know the one, the deep blue sapphire surrounded by 14 diamonds. It's not just a ring, it's history. Princess Diana wore it when she got engaged to Prince Charles back in 1981. It was bold, emotional, and totally different from what the palace expected. And then, decades later, Prince William pulls that exact same ring out of his backpack in Kenya and gives it to Catherine. Not just any engagement ring, but his mother's. And here's the thing, William didn't choose that ring just because it was beautiful. He chose it because it meant something. He literally said, "It was my way of keeping her close." By proposing with Diana's ring, he tied his love story to hers. He brought Diana's memory directly into his future family. So when Catherine accepted it, she wasn't just saying yes to William, she was saying yes to carrying Diana's legacy. And let's be real, that moment changed everything. From that point on, the public wasn't just watching a new royal couple, they were watching the second chapter of a story they already cared about. Catherine, with that ring on her finger, became the new face of royal romance. Now, here's where it gets a little awkward because not everyone in the palace was ready for that shift. And yeah, we're looking at Queen Camilla, a woman who spent years being cast as the villain in Diana's story, suddenly found herself sitting next to the woman wearing Diana's most treasured piece. And let's just say, it didn't go unnoticed. When Catherine slipped that ring on, she wasn't just joining the family, she was stepping into Diana's shoes. And let's just say, some people in the palace didn't love the fit. Now fast forward a few years, Charles is king, Camilla's officially queen, and Catherine, she's still the one the public adores. Because while Camilla may wear the crown, Catherine has the crowd.
There is this sort of shift. There are more people now talking about mental health. It is becoming less stigmatized. There's obviously still lots more work we need to do.
Every major royal event, every public walkabout, Catherine gets the cheers, the press coverage, the "she's just like Diana" comparisons. It's consistent. You check the headlines and it's always about how elegant she looked, how warm she was with fans, or how she honored Diana again with a subtle nod. Camilla? She's there, but the spotlight? It's not hers. Insiders say that creates a little tension behind palace doors. Because while Camilla holds a powerful position, Catherine represents the future. She's younger, she's popular, and she knows how to connect with people without trying too hard. It's effortless, and that's what makes it powerful. And honestly, it's easy to see why this would rub some people the wrong way, especially when every single time Catherine shows up in public, there's this unspoken comparison happening between the past, the present, and the future. And no surprise, the crowd keeps choosing Catherine. Catherine. And when Charles fell ill, guess who stepped up without missing a beat? Catherine. And guess who's been, well, a little sidelined? Let's talk about tiaras, because when Catherine pulled out the lover's knot tiara, it wasn't just a cute throwback. It was a whole moment. This tiara is loaded with history. It was originally made for Queen Mary back in the day, but it's best known as Diana's favorite. She wore it everywhere. The tiara itself is stunning, diamond arches, 19 hanging pearls, and that old school royal drama. But it wasn't just the design that made it iconic. It was how Diana wore it. It became part of her identity. Strong, glamorous, vulnerable, and unforgettable. And now, Catherine wears that same tiara to major state events. But the energy, completely different. Where Diana brought emotion and boldness, Catherine brings calm, control, and quiet confidence. Royal experts have even pointed out how her body language shifts when she wears it. She's composed, steady, very, I've got this. It's not just about honoring Diana, it's about showing she belongs. She knows the weight of that tiara and she wears it like it's second nature. And here's the kicker, Camilla has her own favorite tiara, but it never trends. Catherine puts one on and it's viral. Now let's talk about the earrings that had everybody whispering. Catherine stepped out wearing those double drop sapphire and diamond earrings, and if you know the backstory, you know why jaws quietly dropped all over the royal circle. These aren't just any earrings, they were a wedding gift to Princess Diana from the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, part of an extravagant sapphire suite gifted in 1981. We're talking old money elegance and royal level drama built right into the design. The original style was full-on 1980s royal glam, bold, oversized, unapologetically luxurious. Diana wore them during major public moments, always turning heads. They were statement pieces, and more than that, they were tied directly to the early days of her marriage. The fairy tale, the pressure, the spotlight, those earrings saw it all. When Catherine first got her hands on them, she didn't wear them as is. She simplified the design, changed them into a more modern single drop style that fit her personal look, elegant but subtle. It made sense. Catherine's style has always leaned classic and clean, and at that point she was still building her royal image. But then came Queen Elizabeth's Platinum Jubilee, and suddenly Catherine did something different. She brought back the original dramatic double drop version of the earrings, just like how Diana wore them. It was bold, it was unexpected, and it was timed perfectly. Think about it. One of the biggest royal events in decades. The entire family watched, cameras everywhere. The public hangs on every detail, and Catherine shows up channeling Diana's energy, down to the jewelry. She didn't need to say anything, the earrings did the talking. It wasn't about nostalgia. It was about reclaiming space, honoring legacy, and reminding everyone that she's not just here as the Princess of Wales, she's continuing a very specific royal thread, the one the public still connects to emotionally, Diana's. And let's be honest, rocking Diana's original glam earrings in front of the whole family, that's not a coincidence, that's a message. Now fast forward to Catherine's 40th birthday portrait, and y'all, this was no regular photo shoot. The palace released a series of stunning black and white images, regal, dreamy, timeless, but it's what she was wearing that caught the most attention. Diana's Collingwood pearl earrings, the same ones Diana wore on her wedding day. This wasn't about just looking pretty in pearls, this was visual storytelling. Catherine could have worn anything, but she and her team deliberately chose Diana's most sentimental jewelry for her own major milestone moment. Even for the skeptics, the message was clear. Royal watchers everywhere picked up on the symbolism, and it was hard to deny the thought behind it. Think about it. You could have worn anything for a milestone birthday, and you choose Diana's wedding day pearls? Come on now. And if you thought that was subtle, let's talk about what happened during a recent royal engagement, one that had both Camilla and Catherine in the same room. Now, most people were watching for Charles, but it was the women who had the real moment. Catherine showed up fully polished, sapphire earrings, pearl accents, and that signature Diana-style grace. It was classic, calm, and deeply familiar, the kind of presence that pulls all the attention without even trying. And then there was Camilla. Reports say there wasn't much interaction between the two, and yes, body language experts picked up on it immediately. The cameras might not catch everything, but posture, expression, that stuff never lies. What made it even spicier? Catherine was wearing Diana's jewelry in that setting. She didn't need to speak, she didn't need to pose, she just had to exist in space and let the jewels do the work. Because this wasn't about fashion, it was about presence, and the unspoken question in every royal watcher's mind: who really feels like the Queen of Hearts here? Catherine may not raise her voice, but guys, she raises the bar. And in this palace showdown, style is the new sword.
All of that's founded on building relationships, not only internally, colleague to colleague, but also with your customers as well.
You know what's wild? People have been calling Catherine the People's Princess too for years now, and not just because she looks a little like Diana in photos. It goes way deeper than that. Every time Catherine steps out wearing one of Diana's iconic pieces, the comparisons get louder. But here's what matters. It's not about copying. Catherine's not trying to be Diana. She's evolving the role. She's taking that legacy and reshaping it into something new. So while Camilla's holding the crown, Catherine's holding the heart of the people. And in royal terms, that's priceless. Now zoom out for a second. This isn't just about earrings, tiaras, or fancy portraits. It's about strategy. It's about understanding the emotional weight of royal history and knowing how to use it without being loud about it. Catherine's quiet power is in her timing. She knows when to show up, what to wear, and how to say everything without saying anything at all. It's not flashy, it's calculated, it's elegant, and it works. And that's where things get tough for Camilla, because the more Catherine leans into Diana's legacy and the more the public embraces it, the harder it becomes for anyone else to rewrite that history. The Diana chapter isn't closed, it's being carefully continued, just in a different tone. She didn't need to speak, she didn't need to post. Catherine just wore the jewels and the world heard her loud and clear. Now it's your turn. Do you think Catherine is honoring Diana or outshining Camilla on purpose? Is this a quiet royal love letter or a subtle power play? Let's talk about it in the comments. You know I want to hear your take. And if this royalty keeps your cup full, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for more updates.